Good afternoon, everybody. We're your hosts. My name is Robert Schoonover with the Home Brews of Keller Williams Realty, and I'm an OSA licensed in Mississippi and Tennessee.
Okay, I'm Mina Newsom. I'm also one of the OSAs, licensed in Mississippi and Tennessee as well.
Before we get started, I do want to say it is very cold outside.
It
I'm
is
not liking it.
cold.
My boat is back at the dealership. It's got that plastic wrap, everything, so it's not going to come out till spring, and I'm just sad. But are you ready for the holidays coming up?
Not really.
Not really? Did you do any shopping yet?
I have not started shopping. I'm behind on shopping. I usually start day after Thanksgiving, but I'm behind. So I hope no one is waiting to the last minute like I am.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, it's just 3 weeks, I think, right?
Yes. Luckily, I'm not hosting.
Good. Oh, hopefully you guys are going out to the Christmas parties, for work and friends and family, and that's what this time's all about.
I actually got invited to 3 parties this year.
You have way more friends than I do. All right, some things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the market.
Yep.
We're going to talk about why owning a home is worth it in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And why selling your house during the winter is a sweet spot.
The sweet spot, even though it's cold out. We're going to talk about some of our events coming up and the inventory update.
Yep.
All right, so let's start off with some frequently asked questions that you guys have typed in there and asked us, or ones that we're hearing around.
All right, so let's start with the first one. What is down payment assistance and who qualifies for it?
Okay. Well, down payment assistance is assisting you in the down payment.
In the form of a grant?
It can be, or an extra loan. It just depends on what you're qualifying for. Some are added to the loan, some are forgiven. It just depends on what you're qualified for, what lender you're using.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many variables, so it really is hard to answer. And who qualifies for it, it can change.
Most of the time, the common thing is first-time home buyers, right?
Right, but there are some that, as long as you're moving up, you can qualify for some of that. So it totally depends. That's what you get with your lender to see what you qualify for. Is truly what all you can do. I have here some examples.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some that if you're making no more than $159,200, some are just looking at credit score of at least 640. A debt to income ratio of 45% or less, and there's some other ones too. And it just depends on which lender and which program they're using, and of course what state you're in can change too. All those options. So get with us, and we'll get with your lender to see what you qualify for, to see where we get a game plan going.
Right. Okay. Can I use a down payment assistance with any type of loan, such as a FHA or a conventional loan?
You can use it for an FHA or conventional. I think the ultimate down payment assistance would be a VA, because I'm zero.
Or USDA.
USDA also. So
it depends on the type of loan.
Yeah, the type of loan, which program you're getting that down payment assistance.
Even sometimes it depends on which lender you're using too, because all lenders have different programs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So what are the income requirements for down payment assistance program?
I kind of mentioned that a second ago with that 159 too, but that was just one of the programs.
That's just one out of many.
So really, you have to look at the whole package, because you might make a lot of money, but you don't have the right debt to income ratio, not a credit score. So it's really the whole package. So just get with us and let's get a game plan going, and we'll talk to the lender to figure out where we need to go.
All right. Next question we have: how does down payment assistance affect my mortgage or loan approval process?
Now, you want to answer that, or?
I don't think it has minimum impact. I mean, because it also depends on what if it's a down payment that you have to pay back.
Right. We kind of talked about it a little bit ago with if it's a grant or if it's a loan on top of that, because some of those grants are just forgiven as long as you have the house for so many years. So it just depends.
And then you also mentioned earlier the VA down payment assistance. That's not something you have to pay back. So it doesn't impact your mortgage loan, but the approval process is you have to meet the VA approval requirements.
Right.
So,
or those any of those other down payment assistance. Now it can affect your mortgage in a way to where it will affect your percentage. So if you're getting down payment assistance, there are some programs that will add 0.5 to 1% to your loan or to your rate. So it just really depends on your situation.
Exactly. All right. What happens if I can't repay my home equity loan or line of credit?
Well, that would be bad. I always suggest you pay your loans. Well, what the HELOC is, the line of credit, is you're putting your house up and saying, hey, I want this extra money. I'm putting my house up for collateral. Well, if you're not paying, then they can take that collateral. Some people do it with their cars, with title loans and everything. It's similar to that, and they can foreclose on your house.
Wow.
So pay your loans.
Yeah, because it's the HELOC, the home equity loan, is definitely based off the equity you have in your home.
Yep. It can be a good thing, a good tool to use if you use it correctly. It really isn't just free money to go out and buy some extra purses and stuff.
So elaborate. What do you mean by correctly? Are we talking about for repairs? Are we talking about for improvements, or what?
Really, you could use the money how you see fit, but it would be more beneficial to put it back into the house, and then so you're improving its worth, your equity right off the bat.
Yeah, because for example, I want to finish off my upstairs bonus room, or I want to add a workshop on the back. That's going to give me more equity once I finish it.
Right. Yes, because that house is now worth more. Plus, having it longer, keeping that house, you get that natural equity, which is always good.
Correct. All right. Moving right along. How does having a home equity loan affect my mortgage payments? We already went through that one. Yeah. Can I use home equity to buy a second property or make an investment?
Like I mentioned, you can. That's using that money in a more correct way. You don't necessarily have to use it for the improvement of that. You're improving your portfolio at that point.
Exactly.
But just know that you're taking money with that house, on the line, kind of thing, as collateral.
And what about the risk associated with it? Like, if I take my home equity loan and I decide to use it for debt consolidation.
Again, using it for the right reasons and the right tools. I'd say that's okay. Depending on your financial situation, get with your financial guy. But me personally, if you're in debt and you have a bunch of debt and you're taking that money out, that will pay off that. But if you don't fix the root problem of why you're getting all this debt, then you might find yourself losing your house because you're going to get into more debt after that.
So I definitely want to pay that loan back.
You definitely want to pay that loan back. And it can be used for debt consolidation if done correctly, but it's a slippery slope.
I would definitely say if you get into a position where, something happens life-wise, something drastic, lose job, I would start talking to those banks immediately.
Yes. Make some phone calls. You would be surprised on how lenient they can be at times.
So the next question is, how can I increase my home equity? I kind of went over that earlier.
Yep.
As far as like making improvements to the existing property, something that will add value to the home. All right. Anything else you want to add to that one?
No, and certain, well, I say no, and I was about to talk. Yes, what you said, everything it was good, and there are certain things that add more value than others. A pool, for instance, sounds good and all, but it doesn't add that much value as much as you put into that pool. The pool is for you, and usually you alone. You know, nothing says that the next buyer even wants it, and is not going to pay, you know, the $100,000 or so that it takes to put it in, and they're not going to really add that to what your home is worth. So
I would say like upgrading my kitchen though would be a
kitchen
good
and
benefit.
bath are the two quick, easy, big ones that would help.
Right, in any unfinished areas.
Yes.
Okay. What are the I'm sorry, getting tongue twisted. What are the tax implications of borrowing against my home equity?
Okay, so a HELOC has interest it's only tax deductible if the funds are used to buy, build, or substantially improve the taxpayer's home. So if you're using it for those other items, then it wouldn't be a tax deductible.
Okay. Our down payment assistance program only for first-time home buyers? No.
You know, we mentioned that earlier. Now, that is what they're typically reserved for, but there are a few circumstances where you can get that down payment assistance not being a first-time home buyer. One of them, if you get accepted to the program, is because you're going up. And I mentioned that before, but I mean, typically it is going to be first-time home buyers that are falling within the requirements for that down payment assistance.
Yeah, but like we mentioned earlier, you can other down payment assistance programs, the USDA, the VA, and all the other programs.
Yeah,
those are still down payment assistance programs because they have no down payment.
That's right. So really, just get with us and get with your lender, and we really just need to see where you're at.
And a lot of times because we work with so many different lenders, we have a good idea of which ones will be more beneficial to our buyers. So I definitely say contact us. Work with your realtor, contact us at the office so we can kind of give you more information about those.
Yeah, let's talk about the market.
Okay.
Now, is now a good time to buy?
Yes. You do not want to miss out on a home you want now, waiting until later, because we've said it a couple of times in doing these presentations. If you're a buyer out there and you're just waiting till the first of the year, or you're waiting to interest rates go down, there are a ton of other people that are sitting there just like you doing the same thing. And if something changes drastically within 2 months, everybody out there is going to start flooding the market. And what does that change? Supply and demand. So when supply and demand starts shifting, prices start shifting. So the house you want now is probably going to cost you a lot more.
That's right. I mean, we have that natural flood when it starts warming up. Nobody wants to go look at houses when it's cold out. They want to buy some gifts for their, family and friends. That's the best time to go out. You have less competition.
Less competition, yes. All right. On the flip side, is now the time to sell my home?
It is. It is. Now, we mentioned that down time that we're in right now. And right now, houses on average are sitting
about
100 days,
100
give or
days.
take, right? And so there are some different stances you can kind of look at that. We know that there's a flood coming in, the natural springtime flood. So you want to get in before that. And it does take time to get established. And really, if you aren't standing out, if you're not, outside the norm, you're probably going to be close to that average of 100 days.
Outside the norm, as in based on pricing?
Pricing, or if you just have that awesome home that everybody wants, then you'll be on the lower end. But if you do have that average home, and on average it takes 100 days, we need to start that ticker, really, right? And then when you're in that prime of the average time that's getting in, that you're seeing that flood and everything. So we need to get that home listed.
Right, and we still have quite a few buyers out there that are trying to get in their new home before Christmas, whether it's a job rotation or anything where they have to move their whole family. So it's not too late to still put your house on the market. I wouldn't just sit back and wait. And this is also a good marketing time for you to put your house on the market. You want the home to feel homely, and we all have Christmas decorations up right now. So I would definitely advertise my home. I mean, not with your personal pictures or anything, but just make it feel more homely, make it smell all holiday, fresh, and it will be very enticing.
Yeah, it's nicer to walk into a home and it's got the Christmas tree up and everything. It makes them feel better when they're touring your home, for sure.
Yes.
Also, there's a big group of people that want to, or they have this downtime. They have the holidays, but when January comes back, it's back to work, back to school. So this is the time where they want to look at homes. If they have that opportunity, so let's get your house on the market so they can look at it.
Yep. Okay, time to move into our big discussion. So the topic today is why owning a home is worth it in the long run. You want to start?
Yes. So home price growth over time is what we're going to cover. And you always hear about the market going up and going down. And I've mentioned this before on other, this isn't a podcast. This is just the previous lunch and learns. I've mentioned that it's almost like the stock market. You're going up and down, up and down. But if the big scope of thing, you're going up and down. But even on a down, it's still an upward motion from a few years ago. Even in 2008, you put all those big, and in 2020, when that big event happened that we don't like to talk about, where we all had to wear masks and everything, that event, we saw a lot of stocks go down, but in the big scheme of things, it's still higher than it was previously, and we're higher than that too. So if you take a step back, it has upward growth, even in the up and down. So we see that same similar effect when it has with the home market. We do have our ups and downs. If you're looking month to month, you might, the house might go down $20 and it's going down. But, in the 5-year span, we see growth here at 57% growth in the 5-year. So that's what we're going to be talking about here in the long run of things. It's worth it in the long run. The FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency, shows that we have a graph here in front of us. I don't know if you guys can see it. How much prices have grown over the last 5 years. Since home prices vary by area, the map is broken out regionally. And so you can go to that website, and what we can see here is we see that chart. And national average is 57.4%. But then if we look at the regions, some are at 47, some are at 60. Our area here is at 61.6. So all throughout, you're seeing a huge jump in your home's worth by just looking at it in a few year span versus week to week, month to month.
All right. Okay. So we can see it nationally, and we've talked about the increases of 57% over the 5 years, but some of these regions are slightly above and below the average. Do we want to talk about that?
Well, I can't speak with the other regions, but yeah, you have some uptick more, in some areas, right? In a shorter time. If you zoom out even more, the benefit of homeownership is seen on the national average with that 57.
But the drastic gain is the main point that we're trying to make here is homeowners have the biggest impact over years and over time. And it becomes clear as the longer you stay in that home that the benefit of it is worth it in the long run.
Yes, even mentioned even on the downtick, if you're on a downtick through years' time, the house is worth more. And not to mention that you've been making your payments, right? And so you're putting down how much you owe on that house, and now it's worth more. So that equity is kind of running away from how much you owe, kind of double, I guess I'm just saying in a weird way. But if you buy a house for $100,000 and now it's worth $150,000, but you've paid it down to $50,000, you have $100,000 in equity.
Right. But what if I'm gonna be your seller that you're meeting today, okay? and I bought my house 3 years ago. Let's just use this as an example.
Okay.
Would you say that oh, my equity that I have in my house right now is over 100,000, but I'm trying to decide now, should I sell it now or should I wait 5 or 10 years and just keep it until 5 or 10 years and maybe the market will go up?
Well, I mean, that is an unknown. We know what it is right now.
Right.
Now it may be up or down, but you're going to have that money to buy the house, and then even in 3 years, you know, statistically, we should see a growth in that. So you'll still see the growth, and you're in your new home where you want to be, where you need to be, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really see a benefit in waiting for the unknown, because it could go down. You know, in the big scheme of things, we're saying 5 years it's up, but what if for 3 years it's going down, and then the last 2 it jumps up?
Mm-hmm.
That 3-year wait would be hard.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. This is just showing us another view of the map, or a second map that's showing how roughly over 30-year span the prices have changed and grown over more than 320% nationally, but it kind of still shows the same market trend between the different regions, like Robert mentioned earlier.
Yep, and in that 30-year span, we've seen some big down markets. I mentioned the 08 and everything, but in 30 years, we've seen a 320% gain nationally. So that's average. So some areas will be a little bit more, some areas will be a little less. But it goes back to, in the long run, what we're saying, home ownership is beneficial.
It is.
Instead of, if you were renting for the last 30 years, I mean, what do you have?
You've thrown away a lot of money.
I mean, just get a calculator out right now and just do, we'll say
$2,000 a month.
Yeah, $2,000 a month, times 12 and then times 30, and it's gone. That much would have been paid off on a house.
That
plus
you own.
Equity would have gone up. So.
Right. Exactly.
Ouch.
Yeah, ouch. All right. So we mentioned earlier about sell your house during the winter sweet spot. So what does that mean? What's the real advantage of selling your house before spring, and how will it stand out? Well, it mentions here that historically the number of homes to sell tends to drop during the cooler months, and that means buyers have fewer options to choose from. I would say that kind of give you an advantage, right? Because if the buyers have fewer options to choose from, my market, I don't have as much competition out there.
That's right, and they're not going to be able to ask as much from you because of that. And by that I mean asking for closing costs and lower asking price.
Right.
Whatever your strategy is. Fewer listings also means more eyes on your home. If your house is up for sale in the winter and someone is looking at it, chances are that person is serious and ready to buy. Because we mentioned it before, it's cold. No one just wants to go out walking in, especially if it's raining. If they're looking at a house, they're serious. During the nice seasons, we get a lot of looky-loos. People just want to look at homes. I mean, I don't blame them. That's why I got into this business. I love looking at all homes.
I love looking at homes, even in the rain.
Yeah. But in the winter months, you find serious buyers. They're out, they're taking time away from buying presents and doing the family stuff to go look at a house. They're serious.
Yeah, that shows you they have a serious need. And I would definitely want my house in front of those buyers now than waiting until springtime.
With all that competition.
Okay.
All right. So our housing market, we're roughly at a 3-to-1 ratio. There has been a slight uptick, and that's because there's such low inventory that one house changes that to where we're seeing an increase in there. We are seeing a few houses here and there come. So what we need you to do is contact us. Let's get discuss the game plan and get your house on the market so we can get those buyers to look at it.
Right, because some of the best incentives that we see out there right now are new construction, and we have a good relationship with a lot of those new construction people, and that helps with your down payment. That helps with your closing costs. and we can help you negotiate with them to try to fit where it works best to fit for you as the buyer.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, they have great incentives. Contact us because there's so many builders out there. We can't really go over all their incentives and it depends on which location you're looking for also. So get with us and we'll talk about it and get a game plan.
Yep.
Open houses. I do know that we have quite a few this weekend. But before that, let's talk about the benefits. Are you hosting an open house this weekend?
Not this weekend.
Neither am I. So that's unusual. Usually one of us is going to be doing an open house.
I've got a list of appointments. I have somebody ready to put their house on the market, which aligns with our topic today.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. So open houses are great on both sides of the house. And for the buyers, it's stress-free. If you're just thinking about getting out to look at a house, it's easier at an open house. You can just walk in, take a look. Even neighbors, if you're wondering what your neighbor's house look like, walk in because you can walk in and be like, oh, this house would be great for Stacy, and then call Stacy up and say, hey, I just looked at this house.
Right.
It's a good conversation piece too, to say that you just saw the inside of the house and what it looked like too.
And the buyers also get to kind of see what's in the market, what the prices are starting to look like, what the quality of the home look like. So it gives that home a good amount of exposure for the buyer.
That's right. It helps them narrow it down. If they walk through and they like or don't like something, they know, okay, when I'm looking for my house, this is what I want or don't want. To help narrow it down. And
there's a realtor on site to answer your questions where they can give their expert advice to that buyer.
Yep. And on the sell side, it's beneficial because it lets people come in stress-free. So they're more, if they're on the fence, they're willing to come in. Give you feedback, and it just gives your home exposure, which is what you truly want as a seller. All right, let's talk about those open houses.
All right. So we have one at 6130 Woodstock View Drive this Saturday, December 7th, from 2 to 4, Ed Cowan. So it will be hosted by one of our OSAs. We encourage you to go out there Saturday from 2 to 4, and it's actually located in Millington, Tennessee.
Yep, and I can almost guarantee that he will be the best dressed. So feel free to dress up and see if you can compete with him. We also have Ashton Fisher, at 7743 Meadowvale Drive in Memphis, December 7th. That is Saturday from 11 to 1.
And the same house will be held open by our other OSA, Maya Tucker. And that would be Sunday, December 8th from 2 to 4.
So that house is again Saturday and Sunday. Ashton Fisher is also doing 1617 Cambria Drive in South Haven Sunday. So she's doing that other house Saturday. She'll be at this one Sunday from 11 to 1, December 8th from 11 to 1.
Yep. And Pam has an opening at 221 Magnolia Gardens Drive in Hernando, Mississippi. That's a really nice house too. That is December 7th from 11 to 1 this coming Saturday. So I advise you to go out there and meet our agents, ask questions.
Yep.
Some of those questions that you probably feel like we didn't get to today, this would be a good time for you to go out there and meet our agents.
Yeah, definitely. I had a fun time talking about down payment assistance with you guys. Just always glad to be here, and I had a great time.
Me too. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I'm going to grab lunch and then bring lunch. Did you bring lunch?
I did not. Let's go eat.
Let's go eat. Glad to be here, guys.
Glad to be here.